Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Surviving Hollywood. I'm Johnny Ray Diaz.
I am Aaron Arnold.
I'm Austin Arnold.
And hope you guys are having a good time out there. We just sat down with actress Clarissa Thibeaux, who you may recognize as a series regular on the show Runaways on Hulu. And she plays a character named Zavin, who is a shapeshifter. And I actually had the opportunity to work with her years ago before she was known by this Marvel character on this really small project. We actually had a hard time even remembering what it was, but we kind of talked a little bit about our experience on there, and it was really cool chatting with her about how this recurring role turned into a regular on the show of season 3.
She also, I thought it was really interesting educating us on Black Lives Matter. I know, Aaron, you asked her about that.
And I'm the expert, so I was just testing her, actually. No, I wanted to hear her point of view because on her Instagram, she's very vocal about it, and we're big supporters. But I wanted to get a sense because I feel like the movement is kind of muddled. Is there something we can focus on? So we got her opinion on that at the end of it. But something that I really liked besides that was that I feel like, Clarissa can hang. She came with stories. She was down to tell us about the trials and tribulations. I think this is a podcast that you're really going to like. Hey, Austin, what do you think?
Hey, thanks, man. I just loved how candid she was about as soon as she booked the Marvel TV show, she upgraded her representation. She talked about getting a publicist, all sort of the behind, not in front of the camera little aspects of advancing your career. She was super open about it.
The last thing you'll kind of, when you get to toward the end of the podcast, you'll hear a little bit about her past, her family life, and a new podcast she actually just started, which I was actually very intrigued by the fact that she is an orphan. Wow. But that was interesting to hear. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Roll it.
We were debating before you got on, Clarissa, how you and Johnny met.
Oh, really?
No, I remember, but I don't. But the thing is, I don't remember what the project was or what it was called.
It was a shitty one.
That's what he said.
That's kind of what I said. But I was like, I don't remember what it was. It was like a short /
It was like a proof of concept, web series.
Right.
Thing. I know the writer.
Yeah.
So I had worked with him on another web series, which is why he pulled me onto this one. But this one was just a hot fucking mess.
What happened? I don't know. I don't understand. All I remember is this is what I remember. We took photos.
Yeah.
I remember taking photos in the street.
Yeah.
And I was wearing this weird getup, and then that was literally the end.
Yeah, that's kind of all that. I mean, if my memory serves me, there was another attempt at it. And it was really, really bad. It was the writer guy, he's a good, decent writer, but has no idea how to make a project. So he was trying to make a project and does he's a good writer.
Yeah.
Did you get
That's
the
where it kind of ends.
Copy credit meal? Is that part of it?
Still waiting for the meal.
Yeah, still waiting for the copy credit. Any of it.
Still trying to get rid of the credit.
Yeah, trying to get rid of the credit. No, I don't think anything ever came of it, which is probably for the best.
Yeah,
but you met each other.
Yes.
And
industry contact.
There you go. And you've been doing well. You've been doing awesome since.
Yeah. I guess that's what people tell me.
I mean,
yeah. You wouldn't say you're doing well on a
safe to say
under the Marvel brand. You're not.
I know it's strange because I think success always changes. As soon as you think you understand what success should feel like, then it's oh no, that's not it. I think that's kind of where I'm at right now.
But you didn't see, obviously you did probably see that Marvel show, The Runaways, as a huge milestone in your career, right? I mean,
it definitely opened a lot of doors. Absolutely. I mean, it's an amazing thing to be part of. Absolutely. But
now you're better than that. Now you're I'm at a different level now.
Oh my God. If they wanted to bring me back, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. A spinoff, please.
Exactly. That's what I mean, I really would love that if they just did a spinoff in my alien world. That'd be so fun. But no, it's just like, you know, once a project ends, then you're on the search for another one. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like the continuous thing. So I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay, now the bar is I will be offered amazing roles all the time, and I'll basically be a black version of Margot Robbie, and it's going to be great.
Is that your thing?
Is that's success to you? Is that what you're saying?
That would be success.
Are you a Margot Robbie type, black version?
No.
Oh.
I wish. In my wildest dreams. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not.
I could see it.
You could be. You never know.
Hard to compare, you know.
I mean, she's an amazing character actor.
She's so good.
That's what I would love to be able to do, is just completely change everything into these characters that are so unlike myself, which happens, but not to that extent, because I don't have that kind of productions around me normally.
She's one of my favorite female actresses by far.
Oh yeah,
she's so good.
All the blonde foreigners, Charlize Theron,
right?
You know, like it's like all of them. I'm like, wow, you guys are.
You should just say you're Australian and you just get a bunch of roles. You know what I mean? Just talk with an accent and they'll just give them to you.
Exactly. I'm working on the accent.
There you go. Well, I know we kind of jumped ahead a little bit, and you kind of have talked about this in other interviews, like the audition process, but for our audience that's not familiar with it, because I think it's actually kind of a cool one. Can you kind of talk about what the audition process was like for this role and on Runaways, and how did you get it? How did you find out?
Tell us everything.
So and I have talked about it before, but it's highly irregular. The whole process that I went through, I think, was so fast. I think I found out about everything within a week, or 2 weeks from the first audition until I was on set shooting the show. So it was incredibly fast, but I got the audition, and it was like, never got auditions like that. I had never met the casting director before. It was kind of a Hail Mary kind of audition. So I went in with the mindset of do a good job, get called back for the next one, make this casting director like you. That is the entire goal, because you're not getting this role because you're nobody. And then the casting director in the room, it was the first time this had happened, and maybe the last time this will happen, but he just gave this sigh. I was the last person of the day. Nice. And he looked at me and he was like, "You just got her. Oh, thank you so much for coming in." And I was like, whoa, that's weird. So I went home and was like, well, I, achieved my goal. Casting director liked me. So maybe I'll be called in for something in the future. And then I got the call a couple of days later that they wanted me to test for the role. So it went straight from
no callback, nothing.
No, it went straight from initial audition to testing with everybody in the room. On the show. Yeah. Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage were in the room.
Those are the creators.
The showrunners. Two of the leads of the show were in the room. A director was in the room. The casting directors were in the room. A representative from Marvel. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, I was petrified. I had never tested before that. So while I was waiting, I was with two other girls, and one of the girls I knew randomly. She's a friend of a friend, so we were mutual friends. They
also testing for the role too?
Yeah, they were both. It was all three of us sitting on a couch waiting to be tested for this role.
Now talk about that for a second, because I feel like there's a sense of you're sitting there waiting, and it's between you and these two other people, and you're kind of looking at them man, you know what I'm saying? It's like this, there's this competitive nature to it, obviously. So you don't want them to succeed in this weird way because you want to get it, but then I don't know, what does that feel like?
Yeah, it was strange because one of the girls I knew personally. And then the other girl I recognized. I know I had seen her on television before, so I was like, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, fuck. God damn it. This girl has been on TV already. Fuck. She's gonna get it.
It was Margot Robbie.
Yeah, it was Margot Robbie. No, I can't remember the girl's name, but she ended up getting cast as in a small guest star role on the show anyway. Okay.
Second best.
Yeah. But I mean, she's great. She's done a ton of work. She's been working her whole life, I'm pretty sure. But she was kind of like I don't know how to say it, like more feminine, softer kind of version.
And you're tougher.
And then my
And you're tougher.
I guess I was like in between the two. So my other friend maybe was a little bit like stronger, I guess. In my mind, she seems like a little bit stronger. And then I was kind of in between the two. So we were 3 versions of the same thing. And I think I was the first one to go in. I was the first one to test. And it went really well. I hadn't seen the show before, or I had only seen like an episode, so I wasn't really that familiar with the leads. So when I met them, I had really, I didn't know who they were.
It's probably better though, right?
I didn't look at the list of people who were going to be in the room.
Why would that be better, Johnny?
There was no nerves. Like you haven't seen this person acting forever. You're like, I don't even really know you.
But maybe you get a sense of the style. Obviously, she didn't need to because she booked it. But like,
right. Well, for the style, yeah. But in terms of like, I feel like nerves, right? That would be like if you know everybody so well on the show and you're like, oh my god, this person's such a great actor. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of pressure.
It's better to under prepare. You're right.
Not what I said. Absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So, sorry. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I just got feedback. Yeah, so when I went in the room and I was working with the leads, I don't know. It was really easy to fall into the character. I had done the work I needed to. And
so what is the character? What makes your character
my character is a gender non-conforming alien who has come to the planet because they're betrothed to one of the leads of the show from some cosmic prophecy. So I think in the breakdown, for Marvel, they don't tell you anything. It was a fake name for the character, so I couldn't look them up because my character Zabin was in the comic books, but I didn't know that ahead of time. And then a line, basically a character description that just said, "Oh, regal alien." So I went in kind of blind.
Regal alien.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your character is bisexual or just gender non?
Well, I think of it more once I did more research on the character. Zabin is a shapeshifter, so they are not from what I can tell on their planet. There aren't female and male. There are just being and other being, and you can shapeshift into whichever ones you want, whichever ones you're feeling at the time. So the character was never female or male specific, at least not in the comics.
And then after that test, you said it went really well. So then how did it, you kind of mentioned this before, but how did it go down when you're getting the role? What happened after that?
So it was kind of crazy because everybody in the room hugged me before I left.
Everybody?
Which I thought well, not everybody, but the 2 leads of the show,
That's a
the
good
casting
energy
director and the director all hugged me before I left. So I thought, well, I did something right. I mean, even if I don't get the role, why did they hug me?
What did you say to the 2 girls waiting as you left?
Sorry, honey.
Oh, no. No, it was kind of strange because they had us in a completely different building from where the test was happening. So once it was time for my test, they just, there was like a receptionist who said, "You may go now." And then I would just walk through the courtyard at Paramount into the casting director's office. So when I left, I didn't walk back that way. I just walked straight to my car and immediately started crying. My boyfriend was waiting at the car for me, and I just started sobbing, and I was like, I did the best I could. I left it all there. I did the best I could. I don't know what's going to happen. And we went and got cookies. So then,
there you go.
So then I tested on a Thursday, and I knew I wouldn't find out the next day. So I had to wait through the weekend for that Monday to find out. So the whole weekend was horrible. Probably one of the worst weekends I've had to date because I could not sleep, just sitting there weighing, well, if I do get it. oh my God, but if I don't get it, I'll be just like a puddle on the floor. I don't know what I'm going to do. So Monday morning came around. I think I woke up at like 5:30 or 6 in the morning because I couldn't sleep from anxiety. And I got on Facebook, and the casting director had friended me on Facebook.
Oh, and so you knew you booked it. You knew you booked it.
No, I didn't. I thought, well, maybe I didn't get the role and he just really liked me, so he wants to stay in contact.
Yeah.
Or I booked the role. And so my boyfriend was like, just message him and say that you want to give him a gift, and see how you can get on the lot. And I was like, okay, yeah, because I'm going to do that anyway, even if I don't get it. And he Facebook messaged me that I got the role at like 7 in the morning, and then immediately told me not to tell my reps because he hadn't gotten into the office yet.
Wow.
It's wild that
that's funny.
That's crazy that he told you before anybody else did.
Yeah,
because,
it was.
You know what I mean? That's so
perfect.
Weird. Yeah, because they never reach out. They never even want you to reach out to them.
Yeah, he sounds like he just wanted to be your friend, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Patrick's amazing. He is one of the sweetest people I've ever encountered in the industry. Even while we were filming, a lot of the times he'd be on set, at Crafty or whatever, and always checking in on all of us. He's wonderful.
Probably disappointed. Probably disappointed when he found out you had a boyfriend.
Oh, Patrick Rush is gay. And super sweet, but he's not interested in me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool that obviously that happened. Can you kind of like, I know the character kind of evolved from look like a recurring to a regular, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that transition? What was that transition like?
Yeah, so from the get,
did you know that was going to happen?
Yeah, from the get, it was a recurring guest star to series regular if we got a third season. So from the beginning, I knew that there was a very strong possibility that I would get series regular credit if we got a season 3, and everyone was saying we would, and then we did. But it was strange. It's kind of strange coming into a show like halfway through the second season because everybody already knows each other. It's a huge cast too. I think we had 17 series regulars.
Wow, it's like
something
Lost.
Like that.
Yeah,
like Lost. It's a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. But it's like going into school halfway through the semester. Everybody already has their, intimate relationships. Cool. Yeah, and
these people are all around your age, or because I know that they're like the show is about like kids fighting their parents or something. Or
yeah, so it's split up. So the parents are series regulars, and the quote unquote kids are series regulars. So I think there are 6. Oh God, I should know that. But there are 6 of the main characters, the kids who we follow throughout everything. But then each of them have 2 sets of parents. So they so it's battling the parents, but it's also battling these aliens. And then Elizabeth Hurley came on the show in season 3, and
I saw her in the trailer. That looked awesome.
Yeah, and she's playing Morgan Le Fay. So they're battling lots of stuff. And in the Runaways comics, they're battling all kinds of stuff. And I think at one point join the Fantastic Four or something. There's like all this stuff that happens. So
are these newer comics? Are these newer comics? Because I never heard of a non-binary comic book character from the 50s or whatever.
No, so yeah, I'm pretty sure these comics, a lot of them were written in the 2000s, early 2000s, I believe. I hope I'm saying all this stuff correctly because I'm going to sound like an idiot if I don't know this stuff.
At Comic-Con this year.
Yeah. All the fans are gonna come after you.
I know.
So I'm curious. Exactly. How dare you?
I know.
I'm curious because I feel like what is cool obviously is when you come into the Marvel world, especially playing an actual comic book character. Yeah. Was there any kind of pressure to get it right? I know there was a quick turnaround between you starting to shoot, so there probably wasn't a lot of preparation time. But I guess what did you do to get ready for it? And did you kind of feel the sense of like, I better get this right, or like comic book fans are gonna like,
attack
be
me
upset.
online?
Yeah.
So I found out I booked it on a Monday, and that same day I had to go in for a table read and meet the entire cast. So I found out at 7 a.m. and then at 3 p.m. I called out of my day job, and I was like, this is
whoop whoop.
Yeah. And I think like a couple days later I was like, I quit, I'm gone. So I went in for that table read on Monday. Then Tuesday I was in for hair and makeup tests, costume, wardrobe, all that stuff. Wednesday, I was shooting my first scene. So fast. I did not have, I mean, I had time to Google, but I didn't have time to read the comics because I had never read the comics before. But I kind of just relied on that I got it right in the test and they liked what I did. So I must have gotten something right about the character.
And what'd you bring to the character, you think, that like was so refreshing to that casting associate or whatever?
I guess Zavin is, to me, my interpretation of Zavin is kind of like a lost puppy that's not aware of, I don't know, that has fangs, but is also not quite aware of like any kind of social norms that a puppy should do.
Aww.
So yeah, very sweet, well-intentioned, but also a warrior. So I kind of, I don't know what I played at, if anything, more so just this stillness that I had with Zavin, I think maybe is what was different. I just made them very directional, if that makes sense. Everything had a very intentional purpose. Nothing, no frills, no extra. Anything.
Yeah, everything was I think from the stuff I've seen with you and the scenes and stuff, everything seemed like very deliberate.
Yes.
You know, like it was very focused. And it did feel otherworldly, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
that was what I was hoping for. Hoping for to seem like I'm not from this planet.
Right. It definitely came across that way.
Yeah, I think there were quite a few fans who were like, "You're so weird," and I was like, "Great, that's wonderful. That's what I want."
Cool.
How did career-wise your life change? Like after you were a regular on the show, did you get more auditions, better auditions?
Oh yeah. I mean, I changed up all of my representation. Essentially,
Really?
like I kind of upgraded.
Did you dump everybody like, hey, thanks for the audition, guys?
No,
Peace.
I really didn't have a team.
Okay.
Like, not really. It's, you know, as an actor, if you don't have any credits, it's so hard to get representation. And I don't know. I hired a publicist, and actually Monique, shout out to Monique and Persona PR. They are the best. She really helped me.
And what does she help you with? What does a publicist help with?
Well, so I hired a publicist just because I didn't know what to do.
Uh-huh.
And I figured it'd be a good idea just to learn more about what it means to have a little bit more clout in that way, and just connect with, you know, organizations, nonprofits, stuff like that I wanted to be part of.
So that's what they do? They connect you with like events and organizations? Or
Yeah, events. We did like a photo shoot, connected me to different like articles that I had, you know, interviews for and stuff. They really help you kind of shape your image.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was such a great learning opportunity because I kind of went from 0 to 60. I didn't have any in-between time to, you know, it was such a huge shift in my career that I wanted to have someone there who could guide me. I'm terrified of always making mistakes. So
isn't that what your manager should do though? Like,
yeah, yes. But I also changed my manager through everything that changed. And I'm with Link Entertainment now, and they're amazing. Like, so amazing. Just night and day. And they've helped me find like other people and literary and like, it's just, you know, you start building out your team. So to answer your question more directly, it just helped me kind of open up a lot of doors in terms of getting people on my team, building a better team so that I do get better auditions. Now I audition for things that I would have never seen the light of day.
Did you oh, go ahead.
And either when you booked it or when you finally, you know, became a season or a recurring character on season 3, was there any notable stories or anecdotes you can share with us about the contract negotiations? Like, oh, all of a sudden you're at this new level where you can, like, your agents come into you saying, hey, this is what I'm asking for. This is what they might offer.
Well, so in terms of Runaways, that was all negotiated when I came on for the guest star. So the series regular rate was already negotiated then, and honestly, I would have taken $1. I was like, whatever, this is fine. Yeah. But they didn't know that. So now when I go into like negotiations and stuff, my team has me at a set rate. I honestly don't even.
But it's higher than SAG minimum.
Yeah. For the projects that I'm going out for, it is for sure.
And what's in your ride? What's besides money? You obviously get more cash. Anything in your rider? Anything that you ask for? Specific, maybe a trailer to yourself, or
yeah, only yellow M&Ms.
Yeah,
I know. No, God. I mean, I will say the trailer is really nice, but you're not really in it.
You're not really in it.
Working, yeah. So it's nice on those days where they messed up the schedule, and you find yourself just sitting in there for hours on end. Then crank the tunes and read a book. But no, I don't have anything special. I'm really low maintenance. They didn't even have to give me a trailer. Like I would have just sat in a room or outside.
Oh, I know they didn't have to, but once you get to a certain level, I'm sure your agents need to justify themselves, and they say, hey, this is what you.
Yeah, maybe.
You wanted the credit and the money. I get you. That's all I need to.
I wanted the experience, the credit, the money, the fame.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The most important thing. Yeah, the most important thing was doing the job. But like,
be in the Marvel world. I mean, not a lot of people can say that they're part of the Marvel worlds, which is what I think makes it so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you notice that, like, after the run of the show and things like that, were there a lot of people, especially like indie projects, that were like sending direct offers to you or to your reps and stuff like that, or did anything like that happen?
There were a couple, but they weren't great.
Okay.
So I'm still in the level of like I audition for everything, but I definitely am getting access to much better material, much better projects connected to huge talent, like A-list people.
Like who?
God, I don't know.
This
was like my best pilot season.
One A-list person?
I don't know. I mean, like everybody from Riverdale is doing stuff that I've auditioned for.
All right.
And I guess they're A-list.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't watch Riverdale, so I don't really know. I also, yeah. Wait, let me think. I'm trying to think because I kind of take them like the way I deal with all the auditions is they come in, I do them, I'm excited about them then, and then I completely wipe them from my brain.
That's what I do too. And the thing about Riverdale is they get so many like guest stars. Like there's so many people, famous people have done that show because they just bring in so many people from the outside world, and there's so many names attached to Riverdale.
There's so many eyes attached to Riverdale.
Yeah.
But besides the Riverdale people, there have been other people part of other projects I just can't remember because I honestly have the best short-term memory, horrible long-term.
Everybody has one.
Yeah.
Everybody has one.
It's great for memorizing. And then I just forget everything that happened.
Then you forget about it.
Yeah.
Well, that way if you don't get the role, you're just like, I didn't even remember I auditioned for that.
Yeah. It's rare that there will be an audition that I remember. Unless it was, I mean, I can't even remember the last audition I had.
By the way, I looked on your IMDb, obviously, I prep, but your birthday is like 7 days before Austin and our birthday. So happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And we were born the exact same year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look at you. You guys are Leos then.
Now Virgos, just on that.
Wait, 7 days after or before?
Or 7 days after, because you're 23rd.
Oh, after. Sorry, I was thinking before. Yes, Virgos.
Yeah.
Great.
Anyways.
I'm glad you guys were able to connect on that.
Hey, I have a question that we always get from our audience to ask the guests. Looking back, when you first started your acting career, what advice would you give your younger self today, looking back?
Oh, God. I don't know. Probably get out of that relationship faster, kid.
Oh, nice.
Get out of that relationship and just go do your thing.
What was wrong with him?
Oh, it was just, college relationship. It wasn't going anywhere.
I wasn't in one.
Whoa, dude. Why do you assume it's a him? Come on, man. It's a different world.
Because she's dating a guy right now.
But who knows? I could be bisexual.
Well, the fact is I guessed right, so.
You
jump into assumptions, huh?
Yeah.
I am historically heterosexual, I will say that.
Okay.
No, I think that when I was younger and that was my first relationship, I think I just put a lot of importance on it. And I could have been focusing that attention towards my career. And I think it would have, I don't know. Maybe, honestly, I don't know. Like, I'd probably just tell myself, try to relax and ride the waves as they come and chill, which I think I did anyway.
What were you studying in college before? Or did you study acting?
I studied theater arts, performance.
So
I had come into school to be a physical therapist and realized very quickly I had no interest in rubbing people for the rest of my life, and went straight to the theater.
Got you. Wait, so then why was the relationship holding you back? Were they just not?
Yeah, I just
Sorry to pry.
No, it's okay. No, I think it wasn't anything that was. Well, he had his own problems and I had my own problems, but I think we're just young.
You didn't have any problems.
That's funny. No, I just think that, I was 19, 20, didn't really realize my own value or worth, came to realize the relationship wasn't serving me in that way, decided to jump ship, went to Italy for a little while, and then came back to Los Angeles. And that's when things started taking off. Like, I booked a bunch of like random, like Sharknado grade indie movies. But
Asylum, hey.
Yes,
I've
Asylum.
done my fair share of those.
Yeah.
Talk about I mean, there's some funness there. It's a little bit of a kind of chaotic.
Oh my god.
Though.
Yeah. I
mean, Johnny did so.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the last movie I did with them, we shot an entire feature in 14 days.
Yeah, that's what I've done with them too. Insane.
And it's an insane time, but whatever.
Yeah.
What's that called? That feature?
It's a shark something.
Flight 666.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, I think I think there was I think Jess Salane was on that, right?
It may be.
Flight 666.
Also,
like somebody I know was on that.
Do you see? He was in the recent Drake music video too.
But she also did Ice Sharks, which I thought she was talking about. But.
Yeah, that.
Oh, did you work? I think Flight 66 was Joseph Michael Harris on that.
Oh yeah.
I know that guy because I worked on another Asylum movie with him a couple years ago. But I think was he the main guy or something?
No. He was like the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Well, Johnny did so well on his Asylum thing. He played Rumpelstiltskin.
I think I saw that.
He did so well. They asked him back. They're like, "We want to make just a spin-off movie of just Rumpelstiltskin."
Really?
And Johnny said, "No, thanks."
It wasn't just a spin-off, but I was going to be the lead again. They wanted to do it. It was the same director, same writer, and he called me to do it, and I didn't really want to do it.
No thanks.
No, I had fun with it. I had fun with the character. I had so much fun with the character, but those projects are just.
It's hard too because they're non-union and at a certain point, like. I don't know. I just know for myself, I was really glad to do Flight 666. It was a lot of fun. But after that one, I was kind of like, okay, I'm ready to, get that SAG card and see what else is out there.
For sure. And I think you learn, even though like those sets are like, well, I think you learn something because it's so fast paced, right?
Yeah.
It's like you got to be on the ball, you got to be quick. And then you kind of see where they cut corners and stuff. So it's kind of a cool process to see how it goes down.
But also so different from major...
for sure.
budget, because I know coming onto set for Marvel, having come from movies like Flight 666, where I could help the grip pick something up, or like they weren't really worried if I was gonna get like hurt or whatever.
They want you to do more work than you're being paid for.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. I was like, yeah, let me be part of this team. We're all in this together for 14 days. But for Marvel, there were a few times where I tried to do stuff that was not my lane.
You're not supposed to pick up the camera. Don't pick up the camera.
I know. I tried to throw the camera. They got real mad.
Yeah, they were like, "That's not cool. That's not cool."
No, I don't even know what I tried to do. I think I tried to pick up like an Apple box or something, and they were like, "Don't touch that."
You're not even allowed to pick up coffee on the big set. They got to bring it to you.
I know. I don't like that actually. I understand why, but sometimes I get really annoyed with. A PA has to bring me a tea. Like, I can walk over there.
Right.
And get
tea. But
tea.
it is their job in this weird way, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. So you kind of have to let them cater to you. I don't know. Right. It's just not my not it doesn't feel. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes it's great because you're in the middle of a scene. You're like, I need a water, and someone's like, here's some water. Awesome. But when I'm just sitting in my trailer and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go get some tea, and they're like, no, you need to stay in your trailer. We will have a PA go get you tea. I don't know why.
They don't want to lose you. They need,
Yeah, there you go.
need you.
That's true.
Where do they think I'm gonna go?
Have you worked during COVID at all? This COVID time? Have you?
Oh yeah. My boyfriend and I actually did a commercial for AT&T.
Oh, really?
Is he
Yeah.
nice?
Yeah, he's an actor. So we did a commercial for AT&T like at the beginning of quarantine, which was cool. That was a cool process because we worked with God, I'm gonna forget her name. Her Instagram is Mint Milana. Her name's Milana, but I can't remember her last name. She's Lily for AT&T, the girl.
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice.
girl. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we got to work with her, and she was phenomenal.
She seems like a ton of fun.
Oh my God, she's so much fun, and she also directed the spot.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, which was
Okay.
really cool.
AT&T
Um,
giving her a lot of good stuff.
I know. She's got the dream, right?
Did you
But-
shoot that at on location somewhere, or was it like a quarantine
Oh.
shoot at your house type thing?
Quarantine shoot at the house, so we had like zoomed in a set designer, and then my boyfriend and I were moving the entire apartment around. The costume designer like drove up and gave us, props and stuff that we needed. It was
It's
all
crazy.
remote. It was kind of crazy. We had to set up our whole, like, using our ring lights and stuff.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was an interesting experience for sure. But I think that's the only thing I've done. Because, I've auditioned for a ton of stuff, but I don't know if any of it's actually getting made.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of things are like they're casting, but then they're like, oh, we're not shooting for like 2 or 3 months or something. And then it's like, then they keep pushing it back. It's like a weird, I don't know.
A few casting directors that I've spoken to have said that people will get kind of excited and they'll be like, cast it. And then they cast it and then something happens, like, I don't know, 10,000 more cases happen and
Right.
they can't do it. Or a friend of mine, he's a first AD and he was on a shoot in Georgia, outside of Atlanta, I think. And 3 people on their set got COVID in like the first week they were there or something, and they had to shut the entire production down. So at a certain point, I don't know what's worth it, because if you're gonna, fly everybody out, put everybody up, get everything there, all to have it all shut down a few days later.
Right. It's a lot
I
of
don't
money
know.
they're losing.
Yeah,
Unless
a lot
it's
of
Tyler
money.
Perry and you have your own studio.
Even he had COVID though.
Did he really? Okay.
Well, he didn't, but like I heard that
Someone in the team. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that studio, whatever, that compound he has.
The whole
Yeah.
Brown family on TBS had COVID for a season. I don't know. Remember that show, Meet the Browns?
Yeah,
or whatever?
I remember.
It was a
that
Tyler
show.
Perry hit. You guys didn't watch TBS Tyler Perry?
Not really, no.
All right, whatever.
Not, at least not
I don't
personally.
watch a lot of TV, honestly.
You don't have a
kinda
favorite show
sad.
right now? No's no favorite show?
COVID has upped my anxiety so fucking bad that every show is too much. Except for I've been obsessed with tiny homes. So I watch this YouTube channel called Living Big in a Tiny House, and it's wholesome and chill.
I've thought like it'd be kind of cool to live in one of those, except in LA you can't, because where are you going to put it?
You can legally.
But it's like in the outskirts, right, of town?
Well, you can do it. So basically, accessory dwelling units have been deemed legal in Los Angeles. I've done my research.
Okay.
So if you can find someone who has a home who would be willing to either rent you some space in their backyard
I
or
see.
just let you live there, then you could do that. But finding that person, you have to have
yeah.
friends in high places, because I can't afford a house.
But then they're like, hey, we'll let you rent our backyard. It'll be about $3,000 a month. And you're just like,
yeah,
shouldn't I
then it's
just
not.
shouldn't I just get in my own place somewhere else then? I don't know.
Yeah, but they're fun to fantasize about, like one day building one, having no rent.
That's
Would be
true.
really nice.
For sure.
It'd be
I
super
picture
nice.
myself in the woods. I don't know why. The
Oh,
woods with a tiny home. That's it. Just me
It'd
and
be-
my dog. That's all.
Yeah, I imagine by the coast or something, like in Oregon. It'd be so nice. But
That'd be nice.
I don't know.
That'd be nice.
I'd also love to have, like, part of why I love tiny homes too is because you can have a 0 carbon footprint. You can do everything like like with not completely off grid. And that's the goal.
Are you very environmentally conscious? Is that the...
I mean, I try to be, but it's hard because
you're probably
the
vegan.
world. I'm not vegan, actually. I'm pescatarian.
Yeah.
I'm basically vegan, but I eat fish.
All right.
These guys are vegan.
So that's definitely not vegan. But that is
It's not
you're like, I
vegan.
love the earth, but fuck the ocean.
That's pescatarian.
Fuck those fish, they taste too good.
I'm not a maximalist. I think that's cool. Any tiny thing, or any step. You know, it doesn't have to be 100%. Hey, in our final 10 minutes, I know I had one last question, but it doesn't really have to do with acting. Did you guys have any?
Just jump in, dude.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Okay, well, I was wondering because I was checking you out on Instagram, and first of all, the fact that you got Clarissa, that's a pretty big deal. The name at Clarissa. Oh, nice. But that's not the question. Also, it's you know, obviously, or I see on Instagram that you're big on Black Lives Matter, and we're all supporters. But like, you know, when this at the beginning of like when that started, at the beginning of the year, it seemed like pretty focused. I felt like everybody was on board. Now it seems to have gotten like less focused. Like, how can we focus up and do something that's actually going to make a difference, in your opinion?
I honestly think so much of it has to do with changing our societal responsibility towards politics, right? I think a lot of the time, or at least I felt this way, semi-complacent, expecting it to just kind of work out in our favor without having to do much besides vote occasionally. And that's just proving to not be enough. And it's not like that in a lot of other countries either. Like, I do remember when I first went abroad to France, my friends who I met there all knew what was going on in the world politics. They knew what was going on in their districts. They knew what was going on in their counties. They knew all of it. And I didn't know any friends who knew anything about what was happening in our political sphere in this country. But I understand what you're saying, especially on social media. I have also seen a lot of people posting, you know, pictures at the beach or, you know, I don't know, mundane shit, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But like, it just seems like before there was the George Floyd, and there's a few things everybody was focused on, and not that that was the only problem. But like, there was something to focus on, and now it just kind of seems like, you know, is there anything?
Pandoras Box.
Yeah, we've opened Pandoras Box, and now it doesn't seem like, I don't know, like, how can we do something that's practical that will, you know, further the cause? It just seems to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a matter of staying informed, especially about local politics. I think that's more important than the big stage, even though the big stage is important, right? The president is important. But those people we elect to mayor, to councils, to, you know, district attorney, all that stuff, they matter, they make decisions, and you can change things in your community first and have it go out that way. So, and there are elections and people advocating for representatives all the time, like all year round, all the time. You can find something going on.
But what should be the issue? Is it police reform? I feel like that would be an issue that people could focus on.
And I don't even know if reform is the best thing. It's hard. It's one of those things where I think we unfortunately are in a time where everything is politicized, even things that shouldn't be, like this pandemic. This is the health crisis. This should not be politicized, but it is. So I think that, I don't know if there's one set answer. I think it's a change in our mentality around it.
But I don't think posting on social media, I'm not talking about you, but other people I see, in my opinion, half of those people, they're just posting, but they're not getting any real work done. They don't have boots on the ground doing anything. They're just, I mean, they're promoting awareness, I guess, but after a while, it just kind of turns into
white noise.
White noise. I was going to say, I don't want to say white, but yeah, that.
Okay.
I will say, I think a lot of my friends who are just posting and not doing anything, it is white noise. But yeah, with social media, it's so hard because it can feel like nothing's happening. But I do know from being, on newsletters with certain, what's it called? Like activism organizations, and with friends who are not posting all the time, but are doing things, that things are happening. It's just a matter of reaching out and finding out where you can help, because there are so many issues. Yeah. It's really big, and it feels super splintered because it is, because there are so many issues, because this entire country was founded on horrible atrocities that we don't acknowledge. So,
well, the country is founded on good things too, but there was a lot of bad things as well.
Well, I mean,
you could
everything was.
Now, let me play the devil's advocate. You could say that America was the first, big country to end slavery. While slavery is still going on in the other parts of the world, America was the first one to say, hey, we're going to change things. And it still has, waves and repercussions that affect lives today. But, slavery is still going on in other parts of the world.
I think also in other parts, at least in the Western world, they ended slavery long before America. And they didn't have their entire foundation built with slavery. All of the money in America started with slavery, pretty much, with agriculture. But it was because of slaves. We would not have been as rich of a country if there weren't slaves. So that's something I think needs to be acknowledged. You can't pretend like it was so long ago and there are no repercussions of it today.
Exactly. What needs to be acknowledged is the fact that it was just 200 years ago. Well, I don't know. Slavery lasted, 400 years, and then it was another 100 years of Jim Crow, and then it's only been 100 years of after that, or less.
Not even 100. It's been 60 years.
Yeah.
It's been one generation. My grandfather
and everything else.
Yeah. My grandfather was in the army on my mother's side, and he married a Filipino woman, but interracial marriage was illegal, but only between whites and people of color. That kind of standard has been pervasive through all of history, and it's just now. I feel like the 90s pretend like the Band-Aid was on it and it's all good. But now we're, I think that there's a lot of people saying, no, it's not all good. There are these systems in place that directly impact my life and my family's lives in a negative way, and I don't want it to keep happening. So I'm going to I'm going to stand up. I'm going to say something. I'm going to do something about it. And I think that happens in little ways and big ways, like electing people who actually speak for you and your family, not just the person who runs the most ads on television.
Well, Joe Biden doesn't speak for what I believe in, I guess closer to Trump, but I guess I'm going to have to vote for him anyway, right?
Yeah, I think right now, Joe Biden was not my first pick. I don't know whose first pick he was.
Corporatists.
But with the difference between a mediocre choice and literal fascism. So I'm cool. Mediocre choice. I will take that pasta. It's fine. I don't want literal dog shit.
Well, guys, I'd love to be able to end, all injustices on this podcast, but I think we've got almost as far as we can go. Austin, John, any thoughts?
This conversation could continue for a long time, especially if it's going down the political spectrum.
I know.
But it's like you said, it's so many different issues over hundreds and hundreds of years of this, the system that was designed this way, that it's so difficult to break down. And it even trickles in our industry as well, right? Of course, of Hollywood. I think in so many ways it's improved in many different ways, of course.
But that's not even one generation. That's just in one decade.
Right. And that's all exactly. And that's, we're finally seeing more people of color in media and things like that, which is fantastic, but it's still, it's still evolving, and it's still hopefully going to continue to go in that direction. But we can only do what we can, I guess, right?
We'll get some studio execs of color,
exactly.
More producers, directors, writers of color.
Right. It's not just, it's great because you're seeing more actors, but it's the people within the system that are going to be invoking a change, like you're saying, like the executives, the producers, directors, people of color. That's where it's going to really make a difference.
Yeah,
the showrunners, things like that. Right. And I think that's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to take a long time.
Yeah, it definitely. It will, but I think it's worth it.
Right.
To keep fighting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction, at least. It's being more recognized and things like that. So
definitely.
But no, that's super interesting. We can carry this conversation forever. I just want to ask real quick, what do you have coming up next? Anything that coming up you're working on potentially, or anything like that?
I play a lot of Animal Crossing.
Is that fun?
No, I'm doing a podcast with a friend right now, and we have yet to release it, but we've done a few episodes. Huh?
Okay, plug it.
Yeah.
Tell us about this pod.
It's called Abandonment Issues, and me and my friend are both orphans, and we found each other and immediately had a bond and realized that, well, that was easy. Must be because we're orphans.
Well, I got to hear about this now. We didn't even touch on this. This is so interesting now.
Yeah, she didn't bring up the fact you're an orphan. Oh, I wonder why. I'm going to start with that.
Sorry, well, there's a lot.
The way you casually threw it in there. Yeah, so we were orphans. And then anyway, so then we were like, and like, it was just like, well, that's interesting. That's something.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Another fun fact about me.
That's a good podcast.
I'll make trivia cards.
So anyway, talk about the pod. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically on our podcast, us two orphans interview other orphans and kind of ask about, past experiences, the grieving process. And ultimately what we're trying to do, I guess, is to make grief more normal because it happens to everyone. Everyone will lose someone one day, someone that they love, someone close to them. And in society, we don't really talk about grief. And especially right now with COVID happening, a lot of people are being thrown into grief unexpectedly. So the whole purpose of the podcast is just to heal and to talk about stuff and for it to not be necessarily heavy. Like my dad's funeral, a lot of funny things happened. My mom's funeral, a lot of funny things happened.
Like your biological parents?
Yeah, my biological parents.
Okay.
But how did you know about that stuff if you were an orphan? Or wait, what context were you an orphan, I guess?
I see. So my parents, my father died when I was 11 and my mother died when I was 12.
Okay.
So I was orphaned at 12.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I was there at my father's funeral and my mother's funeral. And I don't know. It's weird. It's like, I feel totally normal, even though that happened to me.
Well, I mean, I feel like that age is also, it's like, I'm sure it had to be a very traumatic thing for you as well. I mean,
absolutely.
That's life-changing,
Yeah, I think I am who I am now because of that, probably.
Right.
That's my guess. But also, there are so many parts of it that aren't just sad. There are parts that are sad and,
Like, what was one funny thing that happened at your dad's funeral? You brought that up.
So I ended up moving in with my with my aunt and my uncle. So I have two younger cousins that are like my siblings now. So my younger cousin, boy cousin, he was at the funeral and turned to my aunt. Okay, let me start the story over. My dad had an open casket. My dad also had a big nose. So my little cousin looked at the casket and only saw the tip of my father's nose poking out of the top and asked my aunt, whose nose is that? She was like, why the fuck do you think we're here?
Okay.
Uncle Dalton is dead.
Okay.
And I think also my Auntie Margie, my dad's only sister, I remember it being funny, even though it was horrible, but it was kind of funny. She went up to his casket and immediately screamed bloody murder and was like, oh Lord, oh no. And it was very dramatic. And I love my Auntie Margie, but I do remember that being really funny.
Yeah. If you want to share it all, I mean, how did your parents pass?
So my dad, he struggled with alcoholism, I think his whole life. And he had cirrhosis of the liver and kidney failure. So I maybe everybody else knew, but I was 11. Nobody told me.
Right.
So it was really unexpected for me. But the year before, or maybe not even the year before, it might've been a few months before. I can't really remember. But when I was 10, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So then my dad died and my mom's breast cancer wasn't getting any better. And then she was around for another year or maybe I don't know, maybe it was 8 months. I don't even know how long it was. Oh no, it was a year. It was a little bit over a year. And then she passed away from breast cancer.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure that obviously shapes you how you are today. Do you ever feel like because of those experiences you had as a child, is there certain types of characters that you're drawn to because of that? Do you feel like it shaped the way you...
Or better at acting because you've experienced the gamut of emotions or whatever?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I'm better at acting. But I think that I am acting because of it. The theater definitely was a place where people immediately made you family, which was really helpful. I think the first time I acted was when I was 13. So it was like right after everything.
Wow.
And I did a Shakespeare workshop. We put up Romeo and Juliet and Merry Wives of Windsor. And it was really helpful during that time because there's a bunch of, teenagers, kids. No, God, no. I was every servant written in the damn play.
Oh,
that's a funny role. That's,
Yeah, it was funny. No, it was fine. I'd never acted in my life.
Somebody's got to play the servant. I mean,
yeah.
Nobody wants to play the servant.
But Johnny was acting like it was like
I played a tree once. Oh. All right. Anyway, continue the story.
But yeah, so it was really nice to have that group of kids who were all like, artist kids in the neighborhood who were excited about Shakespeare.
And fun and loose.
And theater people hug each other and you're just kind of like outwardly affectionate.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You mentioned at the beginning, you got out of physical therapy because you didn't like touching people or being touched. Then you got into theater where all those people just do is touch you.
I know. It's kind of funny. For a long time, I really did not, I did not like people touching me, like hugging, any of that. Like I had like a phobia, I guess, of being touched. And then I really took a deep dive into theater and that went away because I like could not have that phobia in the theater. There was no way anyone would allow it. There was no way anyone would keep those like boundaries during that time. But ultimately I think it was super helpful and helped me to like, I don't know, express myself, right? You could get into a character that was maybe going through something horrible and have that kind of catharsis with your feelings, but it wasn't you. It was somebody else.
You're living it through somebody else in a way.
Yeah. So I think as a kid, it was really helpful so that I didn't have to feel it as my own feelings. It was, the character is feeling tormented by this grief, not me.
It almost like gives you permission to like feel.
Go all the way in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that if I hadn't, I don't know, maybe I would have still been an actor. Maybe I would still be where I am now. But I think if that hadn't happened to me, I don't know. I think I really clung to it because of what happened.
Well, for the record, I think you would have made a fantastic physical therapist. Just saying. But where can people find the podcast? Or when are you going to release it?
Yeah, so we should be releasing it soon. We're just like, we recorded 4 or 5 episodes already. And we're just waiting to see, like, with my representation and stuff, where we want to place it, because we're not sure where we want to put it yet.
Well, what does that mean? Like, why do you have to, not that there's anything wrong with doing it, but what is your reps going to tell you about where to place it? It's just either going to be on Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, I guess we're just trying to see if there's any kind of, like, sponsorships we can attach to it or, like, any additional little perks we can add to the podcast before.
A little funding. A little funding won't hurt.
A little bit of funding. Right. We'd love to get paid for it.
Right.
Definitely.
But it's called Abandonment Issues. On Instagram, there's an Instagram that we haven't touched in months, but it's at Abandonment Issues Pod.
It's like us.
But yeah, it's just, there's nothing really there. We plan on fleshing it all out soon. It's kind of a work in progress for sure.
By the way, I meant to ask you, because we are similar ages. I mean, Austin and I, we watched Clarissa Explains It All as a kid, but you must have really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, Clarissa.
Never even heard of the show, but hey, all right.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on social media?
On Instagram, you can find me at Clarissa, just my name. So at Clarissa, very lucky. And on Twitter, you can find me at Clarissa T, but I honestly just retweet political propaganda. So have fun.
So, I mean,
there you go.
We can read the news ourselves. We'd rather follow your Instagram.
Yeah, but I have poignant tweets related to the news that people might want.
If it's more than a retweet, we want your opinion.
We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next couple months.
Nice.
Well, thanks for jumping on with us. Really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you something else.
Thank you, guys. This was a lot of fun.